Hello and welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is my co-host, Brack. Damon, Dawg, behind the microphone. Become a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a free hat and or t-shirt every single year. You are a diehard. Supposedly, we're not talking enough of our diehard Marvin Harrison Jr. on this fine show. So I said, you know what? Let's open up the show today and let's cut right through it. The man doesn't even have a jersey number, yet is he top 5 on the Arizona Cardinals roster ahead of minicamp for rookies, Brock.
Yeah, it's like the guy gets overlooked because he's so damn good at the game of football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as our draft coverage goes, we did a disservice to Marvin Harrison Jr. because we almost felt like we were going to jinx the whole damn thing by talking about him and what he would add to the Arizona Cardinals offense. But one thing we didn't overlook was that he was going to be a bona fide star. He was going to be a guy who, like, once he gets everything kind of ironed out, and Pat McAfee kind of gave some insight in what's going on with him in the NFLPA and why he's kind of holding off signing that deal. Once they get that squared away, his jerseys are going to fly off shelves. And that's part of this. And you know, what makes Marvin Harrison Jr. so valuable, you know, that transcends the playing field. And we want to get into the conversation. Where does he fit in right now? Is he immediately, you know, a face of this franchise? Is he a top 5 player? Is it too soon? We'll get into that debate for sure. But what's up, Topher, Skyler, Diehard, Gary, Dre, Didi, I see you, Nico. Everybody's here to have some fun with us, talk some Cardinals football.
Yeah, we're not rating Tip Raymond today at Nick L, saying Johnny wants and needs the tip. Tip of the hat to you. Pause for a second here. Welcome, everybody. Like this video. This is your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. You know, as I scour the internet streets, the Twitter streets, Marvin Harrison Jr. consistently the #1 ranked rookie in terms of production for receivers. He's the #1 dynasty rookie coming into this season, and he should be. He's a bona fide superstar, and he has a franchise quarterback. Like, even for the people, like Pete Prisco is one of these people. I think he has to kind of hedge his bet a little bit now that liked Malik Nabers ever so slightly more. Who's his quarterback? Daniel Jones with one leg, right? I mean, these other QBs that are paired with these rookie receivers, like Keon Coleman shooting up boards, it's only because he's with Josh Allen, right? Yeah. So I think at the end of the day right now, Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr. are in the best position to take flight this year. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Can Marv, can K1 replicate, match, dare I say, the production of Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison Sr.? And people may scoff at that, but I think it's possible because this is a rookie of special situations, circumstances. And speaking of special, let's jump into it, Bo. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. a top 5 player, not rookie, top 5 player on the Arizona Cardinals roster right now? We both made up a list. It includes our top 5 players on the team right now in order, and then including the next tier of guys. So, Bo, I will defer to you, my friend.
What a sweet man you are, even though we've got them both right here. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on the podcast, there will be a little bit of drama. I've got #1. Or should I go 5 to 1?
5 to 1. Let's do it.
5 to 1. Let's go. #5. This might be a little bit of a polarizing pick, but I've got Budda Baker as my 5th best Arizona Cardinal. He's a guy that certainly makes an impact, and a guy that, you know, although he didn't kind of fill up a stat sheet, didn't have any forced fumbles, didn't have any picks last season, but he's still a guy that continues to be the heart and soul of this organization, a guy that kind of leads by example and is the blueprint how to prepare and how to go out there, practice, and play at a high level. Budda Baker continues to be that. Up next is a guy that emerged last year as Kyler Murray's top playmaker in the passing game, Trey McBride, a big-time player, big-time fantasy player, and a guy that can help the team win as far as in the run game and, of course, in the passing game. I like Trey McBride going into his 3rd year to continue that momentum. And then we've got Jalen Thompson here as my 3rd best Arizona Cardinal, where Jalen Thompson, I thought, had what you wanted from Budda Baker. Statistically, he took the football away. He made game-changing plays. He was steady, playing, not only in his normal safety position, but also in a new position as far as playing in the slot. I love what I saw from JT. And then James Conner was just an absolute beast. He missed 4 weeks. As he misses every year, but James Conner has Jonathan Gannon said is the blueprint as far as how you prepare yourself in the NFL. 1,000-yard game or 1,000 yards on the ground last year, first time in his career. Explosive runs, he had them. And then number one is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, when he came back, he took a roster that had one win in the season, and he turned them into basically a 500 football team. And it starts with the quarterback, and anywhere they want to go, Kyler Murray is going to lead them. And I think Kyler Murray is, no doubt about it, your number one player, number one Cardinal right now.
So Bo and I did not see our lists ahead of time, just fair warning. And while I'm pleasantly surprised we have the same 5 guys, I think most Cardinal fans would. Here's where this team could get into a little bit of trouble in the short term. 4 of these 5 guys, let's be real, play non-premium positions. That just came to me. Kyler Murray's a QB. It's a good thing he's our number one player, right? But Trey McBride plays tight end. Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson plays safety. Running back is James Conner. Now, I'm not trying to diminish the impact because we saw James Conner was the MVP of the season last year. Trey McBride should have made a Pro Bowl, but this group's going to look very different next year. I'm just going to make that prediction now. I think I assume McBride and Jalen Thompson are going to continue to ascend, but this could be the last time we're able to put James Conner and Budda Baker in this list, Paul Brack. And that's why I kind of grandfathered them in a little bit. Like most Sundays last year, like Jalen Thompson outplayed Budda Baker, right? Budda Baker was hurt. Trey McBride was the number one offensive target for a lot of this season. But when I think about the responsibility, the experience, the wherewithal, this is the right 5 outside of K1, which he's your number one player because he's your quarterback. I'm not going to hear any BS about respectfully putting a running back or a receiver or whatever ahead of your quarterback. Like
they won one game without him.
Right. You're not competent without Kyler Murray.
Right.
Then we can have a conversation about 2 through 5. But to me, it's like flip a coin, Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, who's better on any given Sunday. That's a testament to Jalen Thompson. We're having that conversation.
Right.
James Conner is at least top 5, maybe top 3 free agent signing in the history of this franchise. And Trey McBride is the best tight end they've drafted since they moved to Arizona. Like those are facts, right? You can't argue those. I think what's more interesting is our next group. Damon, Dawg, do we have our next group of the next 5?
No, just talk about it.
Okay, so we don't have our next group of the next 5, but Bo and I are going to unveil like the next group. So in no specific order, right? So we put that in order. Do what you want with it. These are my next 5.
Okay.
Anywhere between 5 to 10. Paris Johnson Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr., Will Hernandez, Justin Jones, the defensive lineman they added out of Chicago, and Yelda Froholt. Those are the individuals. Fair or not, they mean those guys, hopefully some of them do, may never crack the top 10. Froholt and Hernandez and Jones in particular. But Paris is trending up into a top 5 player next year. Marvin could be a top 5 player by Halloween, for God's sakes. And I'm too impressed with Hernandez and Froholt and the effort they gave last year. And then defensively, I mean, who's their number one free agent this offseason? It's Justin Jones, right? And that speaks to the inexperience and lack of quality depth pre-draft that they had on the defensive line. But that's the next group of guys. You might be able to talk me out of 1 or 2, but I felt good about that group when I put it together.
Yeah, and you should, right? And here's my next 5. And I kind of disagree. Like as much as I was happy with the performance of the offensive line, I think that Will Hernandez and Yelda Froholt are great for this team. They're solid, consistent performers, interior offensive line players at the center and right guard position. But I've got, and knocking on the door, and I see a lot of people in the chat, and I understand where they're coming from as far as MHJ immediately being in that top 5. I've got him right on the outside looking at.
Yeah, I'm 6 or 7.
That's where I've got him 6 right now. Paris Johnson Jr. There's questions about PJJ. Like, absolutely. I think he takes that jump, and I think he's in this top 5 at this time next year, if not September of this upcoming season. Like
you and I have the same top 7 players.
Yeah. And then I look at, then it gets different because then I've got Kazir White. Because I think that as far as the green dot, the guy that's kind of the captain of the defense out there, I think Kazir White's definitely in that. And I see that is that Bohr up there saying just Kazir ? And then I've got Darius Robinson. I think like quickly be in this. Like, I like Justin Jones. I like Bilal Nichols. But Adam H saying, where's Tip? I like those guys as nice rotational defensive line players, but I think Darius Robinson could be a star on the defensive line.
I hope so. I'm going off of what we know.
Right.
And you went with a little bit more projecting, which is going to age better than mine. I'm going off of what they accomplished last year trending into this offseason.
Yeah.
But I would rather your list become true.
Yeah, and then I got Garrett Williams. I mean, Garrett Williams is going into his second season. He's healthy. I really liked what I saw from him. He's playing a position that both Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis, who we're going to hear from later in the program, really like and view and value as a starting position here. And he's going to get, opportunities to do a lot of great things. And his sample size of his rookie season, put his hand on a couple footballs and made a difference in the Cardinals defensive secondary. So I think Garrett Williams just has a little bit of an edge, even though I'm very bullish and excited about Max Melton and a newcomer to the excitement group in Elijah Jones after you hear what Rallis has to say about him. That's what I've got. MHJ, PJJ, Kazir White, Darius Robinson, and Garrett Williams.
Yeah, we're definitely hedging with some young defenders, but the proven talent on this team is on the offensive side. Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, James Conner, Paris Johnson Jr., I think Marvin is proven before he's even taken a snap, right? And then we're hopeful, right, with the Dariuses and the Garrett Williams and obviously the Max Meltons of the world. But that's the way it should be for a team that's projected to have a top 10 offense and a team defensively that can they just get out of the basement? Can they be respectable? Can they hover between about 18 to 23rd in the NFL? That would be a home run season for Jonathan Gannon's unit. So for me, it's just like, okay, we know who the major players are. There are some fringe guys that are interchangeable. Like I see people in the chat saying, where's Michael Wilson? Where's Greg Dortch? I think Michael Wilson has a higher upside, respectfully to Greg Dortch, because where he's drafted and his body type. I would say Michael Wilson is probably better to project as a top 10 player eventually than Greg Dortch. And that's not a knock on Greg. You know how we feel about Greg. But I mean, like I envision Michael Wilson, if he has a good year, sign an extension with this team one day, making some nice guaranteed money as hopefully a nice compliment outside to Marvin Harrison Jr. The other name that I was thinking about, and we haven't highlighted this yet. I mean, what would Dante Stills have to do to enter this equation? Because he was their best defensive lineman last year, right? He was better than Ojulari. He was better than Zaven Collins. He was better than all the free agents they signed. He's not a top 10 player by any means. Is he the most slept on player for this team entering training camp? And by slept on, I mean, like, are we just casting off a 24-year-old, 3.5 sacks last year on a dismal defensive line? He's picked 213. He's 6'4", about 290. What if we're just sitting here and it's like the end of October, early November, he's a starter and he's eclipsed last year's numbers? It's like, oh yeah, this is for real. We're projecting with Garrett Williams. We're going to know if Dante Stills has an encore of a really strong rookie season early and often.
Yeah, I just think that, his floor is where you want it, right? As a defensive lineman.
He's already eclipsed his floor.
But how high is the ceiling? Right? How high is the ceiling for a guy like Dante Stills? And I think he'll continue to be in the rotation, firmly in the rotation. Is he going to, and just the way that in the defensive philosophy that they have up front, is that going to give him the ability to outplay and push for a top 5 thing? I just don't think so. Especially like Darius Robinson is going to get every opportunity. He's he just fits what they want physically, what he's doing on and off the field already, and what they envision his role being across that defensive line. I think, Dante Stills is going to have, still have opportunities, but he got jumped in free agency and in the draft. So I just don't envision that happening. And that too many things for top guys that you paid money to and guys that you invested draft capital in that have to fall at the wayside for Dante Stills to get that, take that opportunity and run with it.
Well, and we know Jonathan Gannon wants to play his defensive lineman 50 to 60% of the time rotation. Right. Somebody's asking me, BJ Ojulari, over Stills. I mean, Stills had the better rookie year. Ojulari came on toward the end. Ojulari was a tough watch the first 2 months of the season. Now, he wasn't healthy. We all remember that infamous preseason game against the Vikings. We were watching. It looked like he was running in slow motion. Like, he and Garrett Williams had a lot of pressure on them because I don't want to say last year were redshirt years. Certainly, Ojulari played a lot, but like there were minimal expectations. Like, Dante Stills had no expectations, but he eclipsed those. He ran with it, right? Now it's like, okay, pretty soon your draft positioning, if it hasn't mattered yet, is going to matter. Oh, you were a top 50 pick. Oh, you were a pick we spent a day 2 pick on in that first draft. You need to play. You need to come out and produce. Like Michael Wilson, Paris Johnson Jr., thus far have held up their end of the bargain. I'm with you. Ojulari and Garrett Williams, low-key, have a lot of pressure. Ojulari has a lot of pressure because they didn't do anything, and they need him to be that guy. And Garrett Williams because they added 4 defensive backs this draft. So, and a free agent defensive back. So, friendly competition, absolutely. But for a defense now, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Nick Rallis and his comments today about the upcoming rookie class. This is a group that competition makes everybody better. The offense very much feels solidified. We know who the major players are. The defense could end up a lot of different combinations. And I think that's how Gannon and Nick Rallis kind of want it.
Yeah. I mean, when you were talking about a guy who's maybe been slept on and not talked about enough in this offseason, I think BJ Ojulari is one of those guys. He even gets lost behind the news of Zaven Collins having his 5th-year option decline. Like, it's just not a whole lot of people are thinking about this pass rush room. It's the status quo, and that there's now going to be pressure on that group. Sure, they're being given an opportunity by the front office, right, to go back, run it back, and produce bigger numbers. And if they don't, it's going to be the definition of insanity, right? Just doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. But I think that there's confidence in Zaven Collins and BJ Ojulari to where this coaching staff view them as kind of guys going into their second years playing that position. So, and there was questions about that in the press conference with Rallis, and that was pretty much, what he kind of said. And there's a ton of confidence, especially in Zaven, but Ojulari is the guy that came from the SEC, has the full, was the full package as Rallis was, breaking him down last year at this time. Like he's good against the run, and he's also good against the, pinning his ears back and getting after the passer. It's just like, okay, we saw that, but in very, sample size, right? Like from week 10 to from like week 8 to week 11, we saw really good play from BJ Ojulari.
Yeah.
And kind of on the other side of that, we didn't see the bread of that production sandwich was not great to start and finish.
Well, Zaven Collins, the difference is whatever they get from Zaven, they're happy with, and he wasn't one of their homegrown guys. They've given him every opportunity to have success this year, but like they invested a top 50 pick in BJ Ojulari. Like they have their name attached to that. And so you have a lot invested there because the team traded down last year. Titans wanted to come up and get Will Levis, so they got an additional 3rd in each of the next 2 drafts. And then you look at, okay, we're going to add a guy out of the SEC that's got great production, but got a little bit of a hiccup in the offseason, had to have a cleanup surgery. So this is a big year. This is a big offseason. You think about all these players, Bo, that were robbed of an offseason last year because of injuries. Kyler Murray, Garrett Williams, BJ Ojulari, that are coming in this, even like Michael Wilson has back-to-back healthy off seasons. Good for him. This is going to be a pivotal off season for team camaraderie and cohesiveness and being able to be on the same page. It's great to see Kyler Murray working out with Michael Wilson and company. Nobody of note, and pay respects to DJ Humphries, who unfortunately sustained an injury right at the end of the season. Like nobody's really coming back off of something outside of maybe a Kazir White. Like most people, if it was ended their season, they were back healthy-ish January, February. This team now is going to be in a position to really kind of jet stream and hit the ground running in the summer months, be able to not miss a beat with the second-year coaching staff that, oh, by the way, returned everybody. So we always talked about it. We rarely saw it under Kime, but those second, third-year pop guys, right? Like I think Christian Kirk would qualify, and John Brown to some degree, obviously David Johnson, but for the most part, like we waited and never came. Like, could this truly be the first group? Last year's rookies, and then hopefully this year, by the end of the year, these guys start to pop for your franchise. And then look, you've got cheap talent, not disposable, that are on your roster for the next 3 to 5 seasons at minimum before an extension. It's what the good franchises do.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, when you see a 12-person draft class come in and with a ton of star power, you forget about the guys that kind of made a name for themselves. Like, we heard from Nick Rallis, and he was asked about Keitrell Clark.
Yeah.
It's like, you just drafted 3 players in the defensive secondary, two with top 100 selections in Max Melton, and then Elijah Jones, and then Dadrian Taylor Demerson, who's, Baldy said it's his favorite player in the Cardinals draft class, maybe one of his favorite day 3 picks overall, right? But he's like, Nick Rallis said, Keitrell Clark is an assassin. Like, he's got the makeup to play this position at this level.
He's the forgotten one right now.
He's the forgotten one. He's the guy that people are quickly forgetting that he emerged as one of their favorite, rookie options to play in the secondary last year. People loved Keitrell Clark during training camp last year, and how quick they forget, because, at that position, if you're a 6th-round rookie, you usually have a rough year, an uneven year, and that's exactly what he had. But I think that there's still confidence within the organization that Keitrell Clark can help this team in the defensive secondary. And he's not letting people kind of making him into an afterthought, kind of get him off of what his focus is.
We talked about Paris Johnson Jr., what it takes for him to be a top 5 player next year. I think starting all 17 games again, building off of last year, right?
Yeah.
What is Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Can I say this about Paris? Is I don't think it involves him having to move to the left tackle spot either.
I don't either.
I think he can do that from the right tackle spot. I think
100%.
If he just continues to show consistency and continues to be a dog in the run game and work alongside Will Hernandez and everything that we saw, not just flashes, consistent play from him last year, like, I think he immediately enters it, and it's just like, okay, that's what you need it from that position. But what was about Marvin?
Well, no, just real quick on Paris, like, as much as I like Will Hernandez and Yelda Froholt and want them to be around, like, it would be a problem. If Paris isn't your best offensive lineman by the end of the year, that's a problem. What does Marvin Harrison Jr. need to do to become a top 5 player on this team this year? Is it all statistical? Can it be situational? Like, for me, it's like, I think he's going to lead the Cardinals in receiving. That's probably enough. And you'll see enough big plays in the process. But I think to play majority of the games and lead the Cardinals in receiving, I think gets you there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's not
which is crazy for a rookie.
Yeah, it is. It's high expectations, but you're also grading on a curve, right? I mean, you were led in receiving by a tight end, and it was a rock solid year by Trey McBride, 80 catches for over 800 yards. But
really good year.
I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. can sleepwalk to those numbers.
58 yards per game to get to 1,000.
Yeah. I mean, he's just going to be set up for success. I mean, what they've done as far as creating a bully in the run game, and then having the arm talent from your quarterback going into the second year in the season, in a system where he knows where his reads need to be, where his eyes need to be, what he's trying to accomplish with each and every play in the playbook, and then to have a player the caliber of Marvin Harrison Jr., man, like that's what this is all about. This is what, like, if you felt wrong for daydreaming about during draft season, right? Isn't it? It's just beautiful to think about, like, what Marvin Harrison Jr. can do when you've got a defense set up to potentially slow down a run game in early down non-passing situations. And then you got Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. making a big pass explosive. That's what it's all about. And and hopefully they'll make it look simple.
I'm this in the chat. I still can't believe we have MHJ.
Yeah.
It's surreal. It's going to feel surreal, I think, till the games start, maybe. And it doesn't help. Fanatics and Marvin Harrison Jr. in a little bit of a spat right now. You alluded to it, Bowie. Pat McAfee reported on a show today. It has nothing to do with the NFLPA. So that's good. So, Marvin's going to sign his rookie deal at some point. He just may not have a number that you can buy. Fanatics, supposedly, depending on who you talk to, tried to get Marvin on a 4-year contract while he was at the collegiate level as a sophomore. And I think, chose to bet on himself or something.
Yeah.
And obviously he was right. He was the best player in college football outside of Caleb Williams. I think he was the most famous player in college football. And so they got some things to work out. I would imagine, because everybody keeps asking me, like, Johnny, what player should I buy if it's not MHJ? And I don't want to be responsible for that. Just wait for Marvin's jersey to become available. I would think Fanatics would want to get this resolved sooner rather than later. Like, Fanatics does not want their name smeared on Pat McAfee, with Marvin retweeting that clip, by the way. Like, they want, something tells me like this is gonna get done fairly quickly here.
Yeah, bend the knee, Fanatics.
Yes,
like,
come on.
You know, like they're trying to monopolize it. You're seeing just the complete debacle that it is after they took over the uniforms in Major League Baseball, and Major League Baseball stepping in and finally trying to figure that out. But like, you know, per Pat McAfee, Harrison's representatives believe that the value of his name, his likeness, have significantly increased since his sophomore year in college, which is exactly right. That was the correct forecast. And then the argument here is that the standard licensing deal doesn't reflect his current worth as a drafted NFL player, which is great. Like, that's the right move. Like, that was the right play by his team. It continues to be right. And it's not a diva play. It's like, people look at the pre-draft process and they look at this move without any kind of insight. They look at the position and they're like, oh, there's their next wide receiver diva, because of the position usually, you know, has those players, but that's not the case. It's not him like just reluctantly relinquishing his brand to the NFL and its Players Association. As you said, as Pat McAfee said, it's not that. The sticking point is he doesn't want to hinder his earning potential by just signing an outdated deal with Fanatics, and Fanatics that continues to just kind of be an apparel organization. They want to be the apparel organization, and they continue to take missteps. And I wouldn't want to just jump in blindly like that when you know, and you have a father who probably felt like he had some things that he was wrong by during his playing career. Why not take your time doing it and get it right?
I see all this and I'm just like, thank goodness Michael Bidwell knew what it was like to pay a big time receiver at some point, because I don't need this in 4 years being like, Marvin's holding out and the Cardinals are fumbling a contract dispute. Good problem to have, because he's lived up to it. But yeah, Marvin operates on his own rules, and you can do that when you have special circumstances. Michael Wilson talked about it on our draft night, Thursday night show on day one of the draft, basically saying like special circumstances for special players. But guess what? Right. He makes your team better. And to your point, it's not a diva mentality. It's just, hey, good business, as Tommy Dillard outlines in the chat. Let me ask you this.
There aren't a lot of companies right now that you would get an overwhelming backing from, where it's like, I'm pushing back at Fanatics, and people are like, fuck yeah, fucking Fanatics, right? You know, I know our guy Max, our ad seller, is not going to like that, but you know, I mean,
listen, I bought stuff off Fanatics. Yeah. I'm sure most people in the chat have.
You have no other place to go, but like, if he's going to push back on it, that I think people will more than likely back Marv more, so they're going to this apparel giant,
because they want to buy his jersey. That was going to be my next question for you. If this jersey becomes available, which it will be, hopefully within the next several weeks, is it the fastest selling Arizona Cardinal draft jersey of our adult lifetime? I think so. I think it's more popular than Kyler's jersey. A lot of people like myself still had Rosen jerseys, right? DeAndre Hopkins, maybe, although he was a free agent signing. I'll go on a record. This is going to be the most popular jersey sale that the Arizona Cardinals have had in 20 years.
I can't. I'm hard pressed to think of another one. Like, I mean, as you mentioned, Kyler. But you're right. It was coming off a puzzling move. Like, the fans had just purchased and spent their hard-earned money on who they thought the previous quarterback was.
Come on, Fanatics, refund me for that.
There wasn't like,
Josh
when you look
Rosen
at
jersey.
The first round picks, like maybe Hopkins, right? Maybe a Honey Badger, but Honey Badger needed some time to like show that he was the real deal.
Yeah. July, August, you started to see, oh, okay, this guy's legit.
And then like Patrick Peterson, like I think that the team was picking fifth. Like,
that took time to chance.
It did.
I mean, Larry built up over time, but I think in today's age, where college players have never been more publicized, popular, we've known Marvin in the sports landscape for 3+ years, and then the build up to this draft, I have no doubt about it. It's going to be the most popular jersey sale.
Was Watt one? Like,
No,
and I see like
99 aesthetically is not a good look.
Fitz and Tillman over the years, no doubt about it. But like initial
Immediate
pop,
signing.
like what's gone on with Caleb Williams and the Bears? Like, didn't Caleb Williams break some records as far as his jersey sales?
Yeah, I believe I saw that already.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I mean,
I think it's gonna be. He's gonna break every jersey sale record for the Arizona Cardinals. Like, I love JJ Watt. 5'6" Johnny Venerable cannot rep a 99 jersey. It just doesn't look good aesthetically. I'm sorry.
Adorbs.
Might as well wear it just in my skivvies and just let it go long below my knees. Might as well get an oversized one, like I'm in my big pajama shirt.
My JJ Watt night shirt. It's like, what are you, a 65-year-old woman?
That's me. I did not have a Kevin Cobb jersey. We'll just go rapid fire. Some of the bust jerseys that I've had. Now, my family can't wait to buy MHJ jerseys. Beanie Wells had a Beanie Wells jersey. 100% had a Matt Leinart jersey. Josh Rosen jersey. Let's see what else. Oh, I bought right when I got to Arizona in 2013, I went to a game. The last game he ever played for the Arizona Cardinals, 2013 season finale. Does anybody know who this is? Inside linebacker. I bought a Darryl Washington Nike jersey from the Chandler Mall after they almost beat the Niners. He never played another game for the Arizona Cardinals. Maybe I shouldn't buy a Marvin.
Yeah, I think that you need to stay away from MHJ.
I want to be a part of it. Let me buy one.
Beanie Wells wasn't all that bad.
Yeah, he had a 1,000-yard rushing season.
Went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No, he was not on the Super Bowl team, Damon.
I thought he was. That was his first year.
He was the rookie the next year. He was in the NFC playoff team the next year, though. He has, does anybody know, single game rushing record for the Arizona Cardinals. He lit up Jeff Fisher's St. Louis Rams for like 230 on the ground. But yeah, Beanie was bad. A lot of people with Beanie Wells jerseys. Put your bust jerseys in the chat.
Oh, man.
We all need a palate cleanse, and his name is MHJ. That's what we all need. We all need to start New Jersey collections.
Also, let us know if you think that Johnny is the problem and if he should be allowed to get a.
I should be able to wear grown adult men's jerseys on. Come on, let me have that, please. I want to.
What is MHJ's 2021?
What do you mean?
I have a hard time wearing another man's jersey that I'm significantly older than.
Why do you hate the Cardinals and everything they stand for?
I don't.
Why are you a hater?
Damon, are you a jersey guy? Will you sport a jersey?
Yeah, I think I'm still at the age where I can still rock a jersey for now.
But do you hear what I'm saying?
When I'm your age, I think
that's kind of fucked up what you just said.
When I'm an old sack of shit like you, Bo.
You deserve it. Oh no, Isaiah! I see some Isaiah Simmons jerseys in the chat. Michael Floyd jerseys. It's like the melting face from Indiana Jones. That's Cardinal first round pick jerseys outside of K1.
Orion 80 saying always safe to get that number 40, that Tillman jersey, no doubt about it. Johnny, get an Aaron Brewer jersey. Show some love. If he gets an Aaron Brewer jersey, they just signed a undrafted rookie free agents long snapper. That's the end. That's the final nail in the Aaron Brewer coffin.
I told my son, I've told this story. He went to the stadium last. She's like, I'm gonna get a Hollywood jersey. I'm like, don't get a Trey McBride jersey. And now he never wears his Hollywood jersey. Like, come on. So I passed it down to my young son. I'm going to pass you
Dirt Bite Boy, Wesley. Look at this list. Leinart, Kevin Cobb, Hopkins last year for Christmas. All right. That's a tough run.
You can still get D-Hop jerseys out there for like 30 cents on the dollar.
You can get the new jersey. You can get and he never wore it, but you can get the D-Hop new uniform jersey. I think you have to go to like Marshall's, but you can get a good deal on it.
Yeah.
Plumber always plays.
Yeah. Jake the Snake.
Team Store will have them. So
the Kyler Bolden one was on draft night. That one was
Mitchell.
Legit.
Was that a Mitchell Ness jersey?
I don't know. I mean, look like one.
Dude, how do people hate on Kyler? I know we talked about this. He's repping Q's jersey. He's fired up. He's at all the Suns games. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Suns are having a tough time. I almost put a meme on Twitter, and it was like, everybody hated on Kyler Murray, and it's the Thanos meme. Where did that lead you? Back to me, and he's gonna overtake and retake the Valley this fall. That's my prediction. MHJ is going to be a part of it, but I think in 6 months it's going to be Kyler Murray's town once again, and Devin Booker will be a part of it, and he's going to have to some extent. Kyler Murray gets this team to the playoffs this year. Devin Booker takes a back seat after that playoff performance.
It's tough to beat when an NFL team is successful in any town. Like, I know it's like,
I don't even think that's a hot take. By the way,
this is not like, yeah, I don't think it's a hot take either. Like, and this is not an indictment on like the Diamondbacks had a World Series run, and Corbin Carroll was the face of that.
Yeah,
but is he going to compete with a franchise quarterback leading a playoff team? And it's going to have to be a better playoff performance than last time. But yeah, it will. He'll immediately get right back into the mix as far as the face of Valley sports.
And he like all this stuff, and I know it's BS, not to get on a Devin Booker Suns tangent about Devin Booker trying to go to New York. Like, Kyler Murray loves Arizona. He's here. He's in the community. He donates to the community.
There's like that Devin Booker.
Well, all this algorithm BS, like Kyler Murray, all you see him do is rep the Valley.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. We're excited. I'm excited to talk to you about our friends at BetMGM. First bet offer. We're going to talk about Nick Rallis here in a second. But first, I'm going to talk to you. We mentioned the Diamondbacks. How about a little Diamondbacks Grand Slam jackpot promotion? Introducing our MLB Grand Slam jackpot promotion, a weekly bet and get promotion. Place a mere $10 on any wager and a player to hit a home run every single day of the weekend, Friday through Sunday. If that player hits a grand slam, not only a home run, but a grand slam on that day, you can win $50K in daily prizes or share that prize with any other winning bettor. Again, you got to sign up with our friends at BetMGM Sportsbook on the app, iOS or Android, or check them out at betmgm.com. Sign up and deposit at least $10 in your newly created BetMGM Sportsbook account. Draft props, they're gone, unfortunately, until next year. How about some preseason NFL props? Or, again, daily wagering betting with our friends at BetMGM. Place your first wager and receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that team loses. If it wins, you get your money, you get your payout. If it loses, your bonus bets will be available once your initial wager has settled. Again, sign up with BetMGM. Use that bonus code PHNX. Place your first BetMGM Sportsbook wager through the app for at least $10. You're going to get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if it loses. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Bonus bets expire in 7 days. One new customer offer only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico.
I've got some delicious chicken breasts. I've got several packages of ground beef. Couple of huge, massive steaks that even Johnny would probably eat at least 50% of.
I don't like that every time we do a butcher box read, it's an indictment on my ability to finish my food.
If you could just be a big boy and eat most of your meal, I think you would earn that respect. But until then, how about the pork ribs? Unbelievable what's sitting in my freezer right now that I just received to my doorstep yesterday from Butcher Box. It's high quality meat and seafood that you can trust. It's 100% grass-fed beef. It's free-range organic chicken. It's pork raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood, humanely raised, no antibiotics, and no added hormones, delivered right to that doorstep. And it's free shipping always, and curated to customize box plans. You don't like pork? You don't like pork chops? Well, get a full beef box. Go and get yourself some poultry, some chicken. Get yourself a full seafood box. Whatever you like, you can get it done through Butcher Box, and you can tailor fit it to what you're looking for to be delivered right to you. The convenience, it's unbelievable. Can't wait to fire up the grill and get this meat going. Butcher Box offering our listeners an amazing offer when new users get free meat plus $20 off your first box. Join us using the link butcherbox.com/PHNX and use the code PHNX to receive the exclusive offer today before time runs out. Butcherbox.com gets you /PHNX, gets you $20 off and free meat using that code PHNX.
I need a question answered, Bo Brock. Yesterday, we heard from Drew Petzing a little bit about MHJ and some of the draftees for the Arizona Cardinals. Nick Rallis took to the media today. My co-host was in attendance in Tempe. Do we have a definitive answer as to where first round pick 27th overall Darius Robinson will play this fall at State Farm Stadium?
We do. Let's listen to Nick on Darius Robinson's position.
He'll be in the defensive line room, but he'll have to do a lot of different things along with those other defensive linemen. So, rookie mini camp specifically, we're taking baby steps. So that'll be up to Derek what he wants to install initially and what he wants to work on the field. But, over the course of the offseason, he's going to have to do a lot of different things.
So there you
playing
go.
Defensive tackle, by the way. I took that answer. He's playing defensive tackle. Anytime you say he's going to do a lot of different things, he's playing defensive tackle.
Right.
You're not putting an edge rusher at defensive tackle if you don't have to, but you can put a defensive tackle who's skilled enough to rush the passer on the edge. So a lot of people I saw on Twitter saying, we didn't get an answer. That's I read between the line. He's playing all the positions.
Yeah.
In base sets, he will be a starting defensive tackle alongside Justin Jones.
Yeah, I agree. Like if it's a 2-man front, like he'll be a part of it. He's not going to be excluded from that. If it's 3-man front, he's going to be right there. I would think he'd be playing like the 3-4 defensive end, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then if it's a
4-3 Campbell style.
Yeah. Yep. So I think he's got the versatility, and they viewed this as the ability to play, any of the defense at the outside of nose. I think he can play every defensive line position.
DeForest Buckner, as Baldy said, esque type of skill set. Calais Campbell, like he's not as tall as those guys, but his wingspan is immense. You want him. Yeah, that's like 4 me. You want him on early downs when San Francisco and McCaffrey are lining up in the I formation to be in the middle of your defense, to throw guards and centers around, to disrupt the line of scrimmage. I love edge rushers. Micah Parsons gets run over on occasion, right? The Cardinals are trying to set a tone up front with their defensive line. That starts with D tackles. That's why I think it's a premium position, as does Jonathan Gannon, Brock. We're going to add edge rushers. They have a couple in house that they like. DT for Darius Robinson.
You love to hear it, right? I mean, the guy that he plays with enough violence, I think he's got enough power and strength to do it. And him coupled with Bilal Nichols and Justin Jones, and man, is that an instant upgrade? And you're not going to hear Rallis say this, but I believe it's on our Twitter account at PHNX_Cardinals, where Rallis said the first thing that stands out to him about kind of this revamped defensive line room and the additions that they made specifically in free agency with Nichols and Jones is their leadership. Like these are guys that are commanding meetings already. They are leading the charge. And they want to usher in, a brand new Cardinals defensive front that last year I think opposing offenses looked at. Justin Fields said they were too slow. It ain't the case any longer. Like Jones, Nichols, and Darius Robinson are going to be athletic enough to where they can slow down ball carriers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with this team in particular, how many times do we watch them like they were in a position to make a play last year, like on the edge, and they just couldn't get to him, right? Oh, the Cardinals have the perimeter. Remember Justin Fields in the Chicago game? How many times the Cardinals looked like they were running in slow motion, respectfully, with their defensive line? It was like every other play, Fields could just take off. And he did, right? He barely threw the ball that game. That's what it was like. The athleticism in this unit has been, I don't want to say it's been turned up to 10 or 11, but last year, what we were 4 or 5, maybe. Now we're in like the 6, 7, 8 range. And if Darius pops with this team, Bo, there's your building block. Like we don't want to talk about 2025. That draft is heavy on defensive linemen. This is the foundation. Ojulari, Darius Robinson, some supplemental free agents that are making a big impact that Rallis talked about. And then, of course, Dante Stills. Like that's your group. Okay. Who's going to excel? What are you going to be able to build off of? But you mentioned it earlier in the show. The floor has been raised. The floor has been improved. And that's promising because the floor was like the bottom of the cave. The floor was the well outside of your backyard. If you're, living in a rural community and you fall down the well. That was the floor of the Cardinals defensive line group last year.
Yeah. Poor Timmy. Get him out of there.
Get him out of the well.
Yeah. Some other insight as far as this draft class. You go to kind of further back on the defensive side of the football into the secondary. And, one of the polarizing picks was Max Melton, like because the Cardinals were there and at 35, and there were a couple what people had as first round graded defensive backs and Cooper DeJean and Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yeah.
Imani Osford traded out of position to take, the pick of those guys and Johnny Newton, and takes Max Melton. We heard from Nick Rallis, kind of a scouting report, Damon, on the Rutgers cornerback, Max Melton. Here's what Rallis' breakdown was.
I'm excited about all of them, but yeah, Max, I think he's got a really good skill set. To play corner, you're out there. We call it, you're on an island. You're in the fast lane, and you got to be able to run, and you got to be able to cover these elite receivers that are really all over the NFL. And Max has that skill set. He's got really good speed. He has feel to play the position. He can contest throws. Got long arms. So I think his ceiling is really high as a player. Excited to get to work with him.
I mean, JG's boy.
Yeah,
we talked about it. I mean, people were frustrated it wasn't Cooper DeJean. People were frustrated that it wasn't Kool-Aid. This is a Jonathan Gannon pick, right? And so, as Brian Baldinger pointed out on Twitter this morning, somebody that has all the tools to be a number one corner, and then your head coach picks him. They're talking about one of their favorite players in this draft class. I don't know how people can be upset about this. I get it. They had a string of corners that were taken before him. There were 3 players ahead of him that all play corner. It's going to be fascinating to watch over the course of their career. I'm going with the guy that excelled at a university where the talent, that's part of the reason I like Cooper DeJean. He excelled despite the talent around him. Max Melton did that. How many times have we seen Alabama players bust hard at the NFL level because they were elevated? Kool-Aid McKinstry wasn't even the best cornerback on his own team. So Max Melton, to me, if you ask me one player that popped this year outside of MHJ, low-key under the radar, I would say it was Max Melton.
Yeah.
I think Darius Robinson, it's a man's game up front. There's guys ahead of him on this defensive line. It could take a second. Max Melton's going to be, as we saw last year with a couple 6-rounders, Max Melton is going to be thrust into the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to have every opportunity to excel.
Yeah. Clean it up a little bit for our audience, if you would.
Sorry.
But when we look at, just how the measurables, and, you've got Rallis saying it, you got Baldy saying it, the long arms, longer reach than Kool-Aid, longer reach than Cooper DeJean. You look at just the athleticism, Kool-Aid basically can't work out at the combine. He's got a 76 athleticism score. He's just at 5'11", 199. And then you've got DeJean, who's at 6 foot, and he's got 31 and an 1/8 inch arms, where Max Melton's got, over 32 inch arms, and he's 5'11", and he's run a sub 4.4. He's at 4.39. He's got a 40.5 inch vert. He's got 11 foot 4 inch broad jump. This guy is an athlete. This guy's a tool shed. Athletically, we talk about Cooper DeJean, it's impressive, cool basketball highlights, dude. I like him, but Max Melton in his own right is really athletic.
Cool, man.
That's great. Social media cornerback is awesome. I think Cooper DeJean, I don't want to question him, because Cooper DeJean in his role in Philadelphia, it can be really good. But what's his role?
What's his role?
What's his role?
It's not number one outside corner.
Exactly. Jinx. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be slot corner. And that's one of the main reasons. And then Kool-Aid versus Max Melton. I don't have an issue with the Cardinals thinking that Melton's a better player. I just don't.
Kool-Aid Melton.
Huh?
Kool-Aid Melton. Everybody would be chill with that.
Yeah. If his name was Kool-Aid Melton, people would be like, oh man, what are you guys
100%
doing?
Damon. Damon's 100% correct.
Why did you take Max McKinstry? It kind of works a little bit.
That's kind of fire.
Why'd you take John Smith out of Rutgers? That's what basically Cardinal fans are saying. Why does that guy with the name that's forgettable? I love that everybody just puts Matt in front of his name too. Rutgers, I guess, did that ahead of time. But hey, you know what I care about? After Marvin, whose box office, sex appeal, cachet, all that shit we talked about this entire offseason, I don't care what the rest of this class, they could be named player one. And it does not matter. If they think they're good football players and the draft pick warranted the spot, the value was warranted, I don't care what these players' names are. Are they good football players? How many times we have them fired up about flashy prospects in the past? That's what Khan was all about. Robert Kimdichie, that was all about that, right? We talked about Beanie Wells once upon a time. I want guys who, maybe they'll make a lot of headlines off the field and their social media presence was not, immense. But for me, this team, they have Marvin, they have Kyler, they have some star power now. let's grow some homegrown organic talent under what I think is one of the best defensive coordinators, young defensive coordinators in the NFL, and then a prior NFL defensive coordinator that had 70 sacks in the NFC. Like I said this, I'm going to get on a tangent here, but the Zaven Collins thing was all over Twitter last night. Move him back to inside linebacker. This is a waste. This is a bust.
What?
You would rather defer Zaven Collins back to inside linebacker, which is what Steve Keim and Vance Joseph wanted to do, instead of going with Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis. We need a t-shirt, the merchandise locker. Just trust JG. Trust Nick Rallis. Like, if they put their stamp of approval on it, like, I like Jerzon Newton just as much, if not a little bit more, than Darius Robinson. Guess who didn't? Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford. I'm just going to trust them until they give me a reason not to, especially on the defensive side.
Right. I didn't see that. I don't understand the idea to move him back to off-ball linebacker. You torpedo his ability to be a NFL player going forward and with value and earning potential and way to impact the game. Like, it's not a knock on the position, but the way that his build is, it's no longer, you don't have to be at that size to play that position. Like, he's built like a guy that's going to rush the passer. So I don't understand. It's like, hey, like, he gets a few more tackles here, and his name gets to get called by the PA announcer and on the broadcast, maybe more so than having it beat, the left or right tackle. I mean, I don't see that is his best play going forward. That hinders his ability to be a big time player in the NFL.
They value edge rushers more than inside backers in this scheme, and
everybody does.
They look at this skill set instead, unless your name's Steve Keim, right? And they look at his skill set and they're like, "Man, you're really talented, Zaven, and you're really smart, and you're coachable. We're gonna work with you to see if you can play defensive end in our scheme." What's Zaven Collins gonna say? No. Oh yeah, I want to play stand-up inside linebacker, which I was average to below average at. But I had a bunch of tackles. You could put an undrafted free agent linebacker in this scheme, and they would have a bunch of tackles. That does not make them a good football player. Max Melton can be a better football player than Cooper DeJean or Kool-Aid McKinstry, even though he's not flash, but he has substance. Like, Nick Rallis today, I mean, you watch Nick Rallis operate in this role after a year, after the clinic that he put at the end of the year, outside of the NFC West juggernauts, shutting down Pittsburgh, really shutting down, for the most part, Seattle, keeping the Cardinals competitive in the second half of the Eagle game. And then really there were parts to start this year. Washington, Nick Rallis this year, and that defense is going to be so grossly overlooked. It's just him and his chest box of toys. I'm excited to watch it play out. So many guys are going to play for this Cardinal defense.
Now, here's the thing. Like, here's the only thing that got in the way of me, and I've gone on record, and there will be no Max Melton slander in this chat, with this show, from this show, or people that listen and watch to this show. Like, I'm a big Max Melton fan. And you're entitled to your own opinion. It's just wrong. But the only thing that's slowing down Max Melton is what I heard Rallis talk about Elijah Jones, their third round pick, their fourth and final third round pick. His thoughts on Elijah Jones coming into the Cardinals organization.
Absolutely. He walked out of that combine interview. I was like, "Oh, Garrett? Is that Garrett in here?"
What else about him stood out to you?
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that interview. It was impressive. I mean, I kid you not. I was sitting there taking notes. I was like, "Gosh, this is a great way to prepare. Like, we should like add this into our regimen." Like, it was an unbelievable process that he takes into a week-to-week basis, like studying the opponent. But as far as the skill set, we talk about, you're on the highway out there, like, he can run. You know what I'm saying? He can play press man, he can bail, and he can play a zone. He can cover a lot of ground if he has to overlap in a deep zone. And then, one thing that really stands out with him is he can finish on the ball. We talked about the interceptions, but just the contests, the batted passes, playing through the triangle, getting the ball out last second on a receiver, like, it pops out on the tape. So really excited about that. He's a long dude, big, tall, 6'1", long arms. He can really finish on balls.
What do you think?
4'4", 40, 42.5-inch vert, and has the ability, already possesses his process kind of dialed in and how he prepares for opponents.
Is that good?
I mean, they think that he's a carbon copy of Garrett Williams. I mean, think about that defensive secondary and where it's come from. Marco Wilson and Antonio Hamilton, a journeyman who we liked him on this program. He's now in Atlanta. And then also, some of the late round picks that they had. But now you got guys that have it really, really top-notch skill sets, and they're going to get it, their hands on them and these and mold them into these starting cornerbacks. It's exciting.
And then, like, I saw Darius Robinson did an interview with our guy Omar from the NFL Network. Basically, I think he said like his college degree was in like leadership, coaching leadership, and then like a bunch of just high level attributes and acumen in things that are going to translate off the field with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you think this team has a type that they target? It's like we all have our types in life, right? It's clear with this team, you have to have immensely high football character and character. You have to be a great human being. Like, they had some talented guys they told to leave the organization. We're going to cut you. We're going to trade you away for a ham sandwich. Not because they couldn't play. They didn't fit the mindset of their locker room. They have whittled this locker room down to, I mean, it's mostly, and we'll do a complete overhaul. My co-host did a graphic of it last year before the season, and it was stark. Imagine how much red tape's going to be on that sucker now. The overhaul from the Keim guys now to the Austin Ford JG guys, that's what raises the floor for your team. That's, you're going to be in the foxhole with these guys, and you're on a 2-game skid. And who are you going to look to, right? And who's not going to point fingers? I mean, the high character guys on this team, it's what they've been missing since Bruce Arians has been here. Because Bruce Arians, like John Gannon, will hold people accountable, right? And he had Carson Palmer. And he had veteran players that would do that, Larry Fitzgerald and company. This is the first time, 10 years, really since the NFC Championship game and shortly after, that the Cardinals are getting back to that. But the difference is, what was the downfall of the Bruce Arians teams? They were old. They were built in free agency because Keim was drafting those players. The difference now is these are high character guys that are hopefully going to be part of this organization for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, look at this chat from Daniel Stevenson. Max Melton's RAS score, 9.65 out of 10, which ranks 79th out of 2,222 cornerbacks since 1987. You can fact check that, but I'm lazy. I'll take it at Daniel's word for it. And then wasn't Tips 9.92?
Well, and like those guys, say what you want about them. They're high character guys. Tip's a high character guy. Like, have you watched some of the Tip stuff of FaceTiming Isaiah Adams and talking about coming to the Arizona Cardinals and where he came from and watching? I mean, like, as much as like I didn't understand the pick at the time and it's grown on me, watching his reaction with his family, like to be drafted in their house. And I'm guessing, rural Illinois, Champaign, Illinois, wherever it is. I don't mean to offend. And then it's like 6 people in the living room. And he's in just, you're a top 100 pick in the NFL. I mean,
they were telling us a story from the facility. He was doing his interview. Tip was with the local media, and he's like, okay, that's all the questions or whatever. And the local media are just kind of sitting around in the room around the phone, and they're just kind of shooting the breeze. And like minutes later, Tip's voice comes off the phone. He's like, hey, you guys need anything else from me? Like, I can do more interview if you like, I can answer more questions. They're like, my God, you're still there? Like, go celebrate with your family, bud.
Genuine, right?
Yeah.
It's just like the most genuine dude.
Yeah. Don't you feel bad now for all the things that you said about him?
No, because it was not about the.
I'm kidding, dude. I know that. I know what you're. I had the same stance.
I think he's gonna be good for them.
Yes, in his role, absolutely.
I'm anxious to see his role. Again, there are going to be people that come back and if he's good, I can sit here and take it. And if he's not good, we'll say, you know what? That's unfortunate.
You should be ashamed of yourself for how you guys criticize the Cardinals drafts. It's like, look, he was drafted 82nd overall. His ceiling is tight end 2, and his primary role right now is run blocking tight end. That was our big stick.
Ask anybody pre-draft, would you guys, with the Cardinals roster, the state of it is, would you guys take a number 2 tight end that's primarily a blocker in the top 100?
Yeah.
And it would have been, no. What stupid questions are you asking, Johnny? and then they do. And then we're like, maybe a little questionable. And people are like, hater, downgrade this video. But we love you all, and we're here
Yeah.
to get emotional with all of you. And listen, I can be emotional about a lot of things. My finances are not one of them, and thankfully, that's why I have Desert Financial Credit Union in my back pocket. It's the official credit union of the Venerable household, PHNX Sports, and the Arizona Cardinals around here. That's called the Trifecta. They've got a financial team of experts who are committed to their members and the community, offering financial solutions tailored to helping real people achieve their financial goals and dreams. Hello, look for Desert Financial for checkings, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. There's no better place. I love having Desert Financial right here in the East Valley, the entire valley. Always an ATM I can get to, always somebody that I can talk to about my financial needs outside of just paying, my mortgage, outside of my savings account, outside of paying off a credit card. They are here to assist you. Plus, show your team spirit today by opening up a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card today. Go to desertfinancial.com/CardinalsBo to get started.
Yeah, talking about getting emotional, it's like seeing an old friend here on our ad read sheet. Our friends Shady Rays back. Oh my God.
I mean, you
Can I
missed Shady Rays read, didn't you, Bo?
I did. I didn't see it coming.
Can I just tell you a
Rays
quick
is
story
back.
real fast about Shady Rays?
Yeah.
I saw that this was going to be in the ad read, and I saw they were doing 35% off. I ordered 2 pairs today.
It's unbelievable.
My wife and I have a vacation planned at the end of the month. We need new sunglasses.
Yeah.
I got free shipping. I paid a fraction of the cost compared to our competitors. I got 2 pairs today.
You ever see like just a super remix of like all those like reunited videos, like people coming from overseas and surprising, like maybe like family members come out of nowhere? Like that's how I feel right now. I'm blindsided. Right. I'm overcome with emotion. And
you are emotional.
Yeah. Shady Rays is the reason for it. I mean, 300,000 people have rated it 5 stars or more, Damon. It's unreal. Like I saw on your desk, you got a couple pairs of Shady Rays there, and it's because it's an affordable product that lasts forever and it looks good. 35% off polarized sunglasses right now. People out there at the Keeping It 100 golf tournament, I bet most of them are going to be wearing some Shady Rays because it's the cool looking sunglasses that are made and built to last your adventures out there. And exclusive to our listeners right now, Shady Rays is giving out the best deal of the season. ShadyRays.com. Use the code PHNX. Get 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Talk about a lifetime warranty too. I mean, that unbelievable. Johnny, you have those sunglasses for life. The ones that you just bought.
And the pair I use right now is in great shape. I just wanted a different color. Just change it up a little bit. I just have like the
fancy boy.
Yeah, I just have the all black right now. I got a little timber action going on.
Look at you mix it up.
I know, right? And it just I get
your wife's gonna be like, "Who's
time.
This movie star out on vacation with
That's
me?"
Right. That's right. Shady Rays, baby. Can't go wrong. You also can't go wrong by becoming a diehard. Go PHNX.com. Pick up a free hat and or shirt every single year. We've got new merch coming out, including our Phoenix Cardinal t-shirt. Right now, the hottest new release at the merchandise locker. Check out that bird ahead of the stadium with the Arizona state flag in the back. I love it. I love these vibes. And again, shop this as well as our Arizona Coyote-esque merch right now that's off the chain as well. So go shopping, spend some money, and do it responsibly with PHNX Sports at the merchandise locker, because we're going to save you money responsibly by becoming a diehard. Again, you can get this t-shirt for free, not for free $99, not $20, not $50. This shirt's yours if you sign up to be a diehard. What does a diehard get you? You get a membership card in the mail, which is elite. Of course, a free t-shirt of your choosing, plus access to all the written content on the website. Gerald Bourget, Jesse, Craig Morgan and company, everything you want. All of our exclusive content is at the tip of your fingers for free, including an entrance to the Discord lounge. PHNX Cardinals is popping off on the Reg Bull Brack. And again, any Discord you want to pop into, Suns, Diamondbacks, whatever you want to do it with our friends at the Discord. Plus, he mentioned keeping it 100. How about discounts on keeping it 100? You become a diehard. You are at the front of the line for all of our future and current events, my man and lady. Diehard membership card. Get it today. And grab that Phoenix Cardinals t-shirt in the process.
Yeah, I can't show my face in D-backs Discord these days. I'm kind of embarrassed.
You're thirst trapping over there.
That's the part about the Discord.
Yeah,
you get to make fun of Bo.
They just roast me. They roast me when I was parroting Zach Wilson's draft day photo showing off
So he says.
my red blazer fit. Yeah, I take myself way too seriously. I just thought I was looking fire, so I needed to get the mirror selfie, and I did it. Okay.
Let's get to some of these super chats here. We've been waiting on them. Let's do them right now. How about
Hit
our
the like
guy?
button, by the way, hit the like button, would you?
Yeah, let's do some likes. I'm liking this team right now. I can't wait to do the schedule release and win prediction show. People are already saying 10 plus wins. Love that energy. It's a lot better than the energy of no wins last year. How about Fishbowl Flash? $5 super chat. Hold the line, family. Heard Shane say Damon Dawg will host PHNX bets tomorrow. Tune into the show. The GOAT. Show some support for Jobo. Hit the like. I love that. It's great when people throw us a
Did you know that you're hosting tomorrow?
That was news to me. I found that out with everybody else in that super chat.
They're onto us, man. They know of our secrets.
I'll have a good show tomorrow.
Yeah, tune in, guys.
He's going to be really prepared for it.
We're going to hand out some winners.
Get back.
Have you found the love of betting again? Like, because I know it was a grind for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I lost the love of the game a little bit, but I think we're back. We're getting there again for sure. I was thinking about it last night. How I want to get on a bet show and just rip 3 bets and do 3-0.
That's going to happen tomorrow. I'm feeling it.
More super chats. How about this? Ben, the Cardinals fan, $2. Gotta let the tip rise.
Sound advice. Tony, $9.99 super chat. You guys see Uncle Colin says he could see us make the playoffs, but he also said the Rams to win the division.
Yeah. And you know what? Uncle Colin's right. I think the Rams are going to win the division. I think
Look, this division, I know this is going to come off as a hot take, but it's going to come down to quarterback play.
What?
Yeah. It's going to come down to quarterback play. Like, if Stafford's healthy, the Rams are going to be in a really good spot. I like what they did in the draft with the additions of Jared Verse and Braden Fisk. They always add to the run game. They added Blake Corum. Not like he's going to be a big factor, but I like what the Rams did. And then the Niners aren't going anywhere.
I think you guys are crazy. The Niners are winning the division.
Yes, they're the favorite. Like, if they stay healthy, who's their backup now though?
Josh Dobbs, baby.
Dobb father. If the Dobb father, he's not going to continue his Linsanity run, even with the personnel they have there in San Francisco. Like, it's a steep fall off from Brock.
I mean, now we're projecting injuries though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the quarterback position is going to dictate this division.
Sure, but if we're going to project injuries, then Matt Stafford, like, that's an injury-prone player.
That's what I said. Like, if they get Stafford to play all the games, Los Angeles is going to be right in the thick of things.
First of all, we got to get Colin away from Steve Keim. Did you see Colin in his post-draft podcast? He said he went out for cigars with Steve Keim and they just talked draft and football for like 2 hours. And I'm like, good Lord, that's certainly a choice. Josh Espada 02, thank you so much. $4.99. Quick victory lap. It's a good to bask in the glory of being a fan of the team that took my sugar plum prince Marv, our glorious honey bunny. Wow. First of all, that avatar is certainly something. Listen, this is the first time Cardinal fans have had an opportunity to kind of put their chests out, see themselves in the headlines. They have the player that every fan, don't get it twisted. I love that these other prospects got lifted up. Cool that you got Brock Bowers, Raiders. There's one player in this draft that every fan base coveted. That's including the team that had the 1st and the 9th overall pick. They talked themselves into those picks, and I think they're going to work out long term. But Bear fans, Commander fans, Patriot fans, all want an MHJ. No. And their fans and their franchises went other ways, and probably the right decision with QBs. But there's only one fan base that gets to walk around saying we got the best player in the last 2 drafts, pre-draft, and that's the Arizona Cardinals.
It really feels good. No doubt about it.
We've earned it.
He says Sugar Plum Prince. I like that. Our guy Marv, $4.99. Justice for Damon. My guy was only given a month to do the BetMGM disclaimer, then got kicked by returning Shane Diefenbach. We shall not be silent.
Wow.
You feel like justice think about that?
Mine was clear.
It was.
But that's okay.
I think that was the first thing like Shane did when he came back. He's like,
it was, what was crazy is that our like behind the scenes people that run that, they like hit him up like behind my back and they were like, hey, Shane, you want to do us a disclaimer and kind of just like overwrite Damon's? Isn't that wild?
That
you show how much value you have.
Ete Brute. They stab you in the back. You think you know somebody, right? Edward, $2 super chat, Johnny.
Kazir and Mac may become top 5 MLB duo. I think, can they stay healthy? That's the biggest thing. If they can stay healthy, Kazir White's the loss of him. I know the defense wasn't cooking before he left, but that was a huge loss for this team.
Yeah.
Although I think, listen, here's what I like Mac Wilson. It would not surprise me if Chris Barnes ends up starting at some point this year. He was re-signed. I know he didn't get some flashy multi-year deal, and Mac Wilson can play special teams. Chris Barnes was good at the end of the year. He picked off C.J. Stroud, played solid against Pittsburgh. Like, I'm not predicting he's going to start. I just think they like their depth at inside linebacker. Papo comes back. Like, that's a group that's in good shape.
Yeah. Kazir, Mac, Chris Barnes, and Papo. Good unit. Good unit.
Yeah. And sometimes there's just one of them on the field.
Yeah, it's not supplemented by, and we really like Josh Woods, but they haven't brought him back, and he was more of a special teams ace. So, what else we got here?
We got one more. Dre, Cards will have 10 plus.
Yeah, our guy Topic 64 just entered one too.
Okay, cool. Dre says Cards will have 10 plus wins and a wild card home game. Book it. Or wild card game, excuse me. I would sign up for that right now. This team deserves to be in the postseason. This fan base does. The Valley needs good things to happen to them sports-wise. After, let's just call spade a spade. It's been a brutal spring. And I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to make the playoffs. I've said that consistently. I think they're the fringe playoff team. And had they traded down and they would have added more players, less impact, and it was for a longer-term play, I would have said maybe not. The strength of schedule and Marvin Harrison Jr. have me thinking. Somebody was asking me today, like, what's their floor? I think their floor is 8 wins. And so if you're like Kyler Murray, they didn't have Kyler last year. If Kyler Murray plays every game last year, most of it, they probably win 6 games with that team last year. So you're telling me with better talent and a worse schedule this year, they can't win at the floor 8 games? Of course they can. Without Pete Carroll. So I think the floor is 8 right now.
Yeah. Topic 64, $4.99 super chat. Bo, your old co-host, swears that we need another vet wide receiver. Thoughts?
Clancy.
Okay. Yeah. So Alex, I saw him on Twitter. He's pounding the table for bringing back Calais Campbell. And I don't know why I don't see this organization wanting to get older on either side of the football.
We don't need a retarees club here.
That's what it used to be. It's like, Terrell Suggs, we got it wrong nearly 20 years ago. Let's take an opportunity to get it right. Give him a victory lap, where he played high school ball, and that didn't turn out to do very well. Like even the ones that like turn out fine, like Todd Heap, like the impact, it's minimal. And like Calais Campbell had a great Cardinals career, and I hope he's in the Ring of Honor one day. And what he did off the field continues to be unbelievable. He's a Walter Payton guy, and his philanthropic endeavors are unmatched. Love Calais. I just think this organization wants to develop the younger players, and I just don't think the productivity that they would get from a 37-year-old Calais Campbell would match what they want to get from the development of the other guys. And I'll say the same for the wide receivers. Like, where does a veteran wide receiver fit in?
They're not playing special teams.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. That was what we were talking about going against Brendan Rice potentially and drafting him, is like, what's his versatility? What does a Zay Jones bring? Outside, like if it's playmaking, sure, he's a bigger playmaker than Zach Pascal, but neither one of them are going to outplay Marvin, Greg Dortch, or even Chris Moore for that matter. Michael Wilson. It's just, I just don't see the value in it. Like Zach Pascal brings value in the locker room, special teams, and like he's not an awful wide receiver. Like I think if you give him an opportunity, like a true opportunity,
he's pretty bad.
He didn't have a great year last year, right? But I think that if he was given an opportunity on a lesser team, he probably could do some things.
Their receiving core is 100% homegrown now.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to sign guys that other teams don't want, even if it's a quote unquote a bargain. That was a Keim thing. Remember the Keim time signings? Like,
yeah.
How about let's just draft and develop our own people? Like Greg
My guy
Dortch
Clancy's got a thing for older receivers. I don't know what it is. Like when we were
you
working
want
together,
people taking away reps from Marvin and Michael
he
Wilson.
liked Eric Decker and Demarius Thomas and like
I love Clancy.
Guys, like
he's always welcome on this show.
Yeah,
that's just a bad take.
I'm not going to say that
he's got a lot of them.
I'm not going to say that this is going to happen because I think they are pretty set there. But we're looking at you can keep up to 6 receivers basically. So we're looking at the back end guys probably being Chris Moore, Zach Pascal, and then maybe Tejon Palmer, right? Who they just
Xavier
drafted.
Weaver,
or Xavier Weaver if he beats him out. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I would probably prefer to have a better veteran in there. Like Hunter Renfro's available. I wouldn't mind him or something over one of those guys, but I don't think they're going to make a move. But I think they could use a better veteran receiver for sure.
I think there's a much better chance that they sign a free agent pass rusher than a wide receiver. I think the offense, again, Higgins, Tip, McBride, I'm not even including the backs, Dortch, Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. There's 6 targets. I mean, and they're going to run the ball more than they're going to throw it, at least initially. They have 3 to 4 good backs. I mean, there's nobody else makes sense here.
I don't know. Like I'm always for a team to kind of tool with the roster and stuff, but not at the expense of guys that I think that this organization has a strong conviction have earned it, right? And if you're gonna get incrementally better, or you feel like it on paper with the additions of like a Zay Jones or a Hunter Renfro, and you're going to do it at the expense of a guy who's done everything that you've asked for, I think that does water down the message to the organization that like buy into the process, buy into the culture, buy into the organization. But like once somebody comes along that's available, that's just maybe, and it's arguable, like that much better. And if it's arguable, like I think that's a bad look for organizations to have.
Can we just also be on the right side of, trending up with a player that's young and on the rise instead of inevitably like, oh, let's try to squeeze as much as we can out of this. Like Bruce Arians spoiled us with the Dwight Freeneys and John Abrahams. Like, let's catch a shooting star like Greg Dortch instead of, oh, Tyler Boyd, maybe. Why haven't the Bengals re-signed Tyler Boyd?
Right.
Like, come on. Now, I think Yannick Ngakoue, somebody like that, 29 years old, because the Cardinals rotate pass rushers and they need some, makes more sense. A player like that you could come in and say, come in and just give us a little juice on third down, more than, hey, come be a part of our offense, even though we're solidified. The offense is a finished product, guys. It's done until next offseason, pending injury. Backs, receivers, they've got offensive line depth. They've got too many tackles. They've got quarterbacks. The offense is good. The defense, you keep your options open, right? You keep your options open with pass rushers and maybe defensive line play.
Zach Pascal had 15 targets last year.
He's not going to play offense this year unless
who do you want to go sacrifice? Like who's worth it to sacrifice more targets to? I know you're telegraphing more often than not what you're going to do when Pascal's on the field. You're going to run the ball, right? Yeah. But like to Chase's point, like he's solid in the run game. Like who's going to is Zay Jones or Hunter Renfro going to embrace blocking in the run game? Like what did Britton tell us? Britton Golden, our playmaker here on PHNX Cardinals, like in the media, you say that you love running blocking, but most wide receivers don't. But Zach Pascal does because it's his livelihood.
And he plays teams.
Yeah, exactly.
And they love him and he's a great person. And it's like, those are the guys you want on your, he's not going to impact. Like he played wide receiver last year when it was just him and Greg Dortch out there and Michael Wilson.
Yeah.
Like, cause they had to out of necessity. Guess what? His position, they added what we all think is going to be a future Hall of Famer in Marvin Harrison Jr. So he can play his position that he's meant to play, right? That was a long-term play bringing him on. It's a long-term play and a short-term play for you to subscribe here to PHNX Sports on YouTube. Like this video. Again, subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. It would mean everything to me. If everybody just busted out your mobile phone, cell phone device, go to your podcast feed right now, Android, iOS, whatever you dabble with, search PHNX Cardinals and click that follow button. We've got exclusive content only coming to PHNX Cardinals on the audio edition. The offseason, well, we're post-draft right now, prepping for the season. There's going to be so much that we want to be able to provide to you that's just also outside of our daily live show, but you got to subscribe to the podcast. It helps grow the channel, helps grow the podcast, and keeps us going, baby.
We had an incredible month of April, the biggest month of this humble podcast, and it's all because of each and every one of you that tuned in, listened to the pod, watched, and left a like. Leave a like here for the biggest month of PHNX Cardinals ever on record. Is unbelievable. We're blown away by how many people tuned in, and we want to continue to keep this momentum going, this community to keep on growing, people to get more and more excited about this team, because there is a ton to be excited about, and we want to just talk about it and continue to talk about it on a daily basis. So we appreciate each and every one of you out there. It's fantastic. I can't believe it's already been almost a week since our first round draft show. It was an unbelievable moment to share with each and every one of you. And it's only getting better and better. We talked to Petsing, we talked to Rallis, and we're going to have rookie minicamp open up a week from, when is it? May 10th. So what is that? A week from Friday. So we're going to first glimpse at Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe what number he's going to be wearing, all that stuff. We'll start to get some answers about this rookie class that we're really excited about.
I'm fired up. And again, there's Blow Brock. Johnny, did you shave? Oh my, how handsome. Appreciate that. Thank you, Blow.
Did you?
I get more compliments from Blow than I do from Bo Brock. How about that?
I've noticed that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Are you fishing for one right now? What would you like me to compliment you on?
I don't know. Just my overall aura that I bring to the show.
Maybe?
Yeah, you are a knower of ball. I'll give you that much.
That the fact that, I mean, really, you do need to concede, like, defensive tackle is a premium position now. Are you ready to say that? They used a first round pick on a defensive tackle. They love it.
It was a need, that's for sure.
Okay, end the show, Damon. Let's get the credits rolling. Subscribe, like this video. I'm Johnny. He's Bo.
We didn't get to Sam Monson, PFF. We'll get to him tomorrow. Look for that. Subscribe to PHNX Sports.
Get this fraud off my screen, Damon. Thank you.
We all silly like the mayor.